everybody, it's Pastor Steve on the Inner Circle. Hope you're having a great week. I've got a special episode for you guys this week. I've got a good friend with me, Kevin. You know him from church. We go way back. How long do we go back?
I think you were 14.
Yeah, and that's 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So we go way back. We actually met at a previous church. Basically, when I was in youth group, you had probably already worked your way through and was away doing a special kind of schooling.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
You started stepping up about when I was.
But our
leaving.
paths crossed enough that we became good friends. And when you came back from school, it was like we've been friends for a long time. Kev has played on the worship team throughout the years. We played together forever in youth group in our old church. He's anointed on the percussion, the drums, the shofar. He's one of the few people I know can get multiple notes out of a shofar. Your hidden talents, right? But the school you're going to was gunsmithing, right?
Correct.
But what do you do right now?
Well, right now I'm in the service industry where I'm taking care of customers and doing service work for pest control work.
Awesome. So you get to get rid of varmints one way or the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kevin's happy. But you went to gunsmithing school, and I've seen your work. It's good. He can do all the etching, the detailed, carving and all that kind of stuff. But you also can literally make a gun from scratch out of a block of wood.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what we're looking at right here, right? So tell me about this stuff.
Well, this is what we have here. This is basically we end up having a special type of wood. Could be maple, could be walnut. There's many different types of maples and walnuts out there. Could be cherry. Mm-hmm. It's just depending on the grain, and basically we end up having a 2.5 inch to 3 inch slab, and then everything is bandsawed into a general shape. So we have a starting point.
Okay.
So.
And is there a preferred type of wood, or?
Really, it's personal preference.
Okay.
Like this one here is a regular American walnut.
But they're all hardwoods.
Correct. They're all hardwoods.
Okay.
There won't be like an oak because the grain is too open.
Okay.
But they are definitely all hardwood.
Oh wow. And is this as much of an art as it is a set of skills, or?
Actually, yeah. Be honest with you, I think President Reagan actually had Congress initial. I don't know exactly how it goes paperwork wise, but when it comes to the muzzle loaders, because these are muzzle loaders. Muzzle loaders where you load from the muzzle, not the modern cartridge guns. Correct.
Yeah.
And he actually deemed them as an artwork under law.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so that was back in the 80s.
So you're literally considered an artisan if you can do this.
Well,
Yeah.
I
You're not
guess.
worthy.
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
That's awesome. All right, so this gun is in
correct.
midway, and this is actually gonna be for your son. Same.
Correct.
All right, and how long will it take you to finish it when you resume?
Well, that's an open-ended question because if you put down just how many actual physical hours you'll have into building one, you could between 60 to 120 hours to build one.
Okay.
In the time frame when I started it, I think I started it 9 years ago, so it tells you I have no time to do it, but honestly, it's probably anywhere between 60 to 120 hours.
Per gun.
Per gun, yeah. Depending on how much ornate stuff you want to put on it and different things.
Now this one you've made
Correct.
from the same kind of block of wood as this.
Correct.
And this is a finished working piece.
Correct.
All right, and this is special. I'm going to lead you to tell them the story, but God spoke to you through this gun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so tell me that story.
Well, what it was we all know that all the time we don't have a lot of time to ourselves, and I had built this specific rifle one time, a long time ago, and it hung up on my wall along with my powder bag and all the essentials that go along with it.
Okay.
So it hung up on the wall, and I just sat there for months upon months, if not almost a year's time, and I was going, I passed it one day in the hallway, and I looked at it, and I looked at the gun on the wall, and I said, you know what, I got to get out and shoot you. And immediately, like the Lord downloaded into my spirit. He's like, the way you feel about that gun sitting on the wall is the way I feel about you. It's because the amount of time and effort, and basically, you know, the blood, sweat, and tears, as they say, the amount that I put into creating you, and you're not being used to what you were intended for. This thing was not intended to sit on the wall. Yeah, it looks great. It's a great ornamental piece if you want to look at it that way, but I don't want to make ornamental pieces. It's got to be functional. It's got to be able to do what it's supposed to do. And that's when he just revealed that to me, like, hey, you know what? I made you for something, and you're not being used for it. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And what I immediately did is I immediately grabbed it off the wall, grabbed, you know, my Possibles bag, and went out to the range and shot it. And
awesome.
You know, spent some time using it. And
There's a lesson for you. When God speaks to you and tells you something, move on it, act on it right away, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And one other thing, you know, what you have to understand too is the enjoyment that I received when I shot this thing. You know, there's like I said, you can have this thing sit on the wall and you can admire it and look at it, but when you take it out and use it for what it was intended purpose for,
What it was built for. Yeah.
and that's how God was, you know, the way I felt about shooting this thing and harvesting game with it is the same way God feels about me when I'm using my abilities and talents that He's given me for His glory.
Well, we've talked about this before. I feel that way when I'm in worship. Like I feel like I can feel His pleasure as I do it.
Yep.
You know, because that's what He made me for. You know what I mean? And when I play an instrument, when I sing and I use it for worship, I feel His pleasure. And I think I told you about this movie. What was his name? It's Chariots of Fire. It's an old movie.
Yeah.
But there's this great line in there when one of the runners who's running in the Olympics, his families were missionaries, and his sister was afraid that the running part of his life would distract him from his calling, right? And he says, hey, I haven't forgotten my calling. I'm definitely going to go through with it. And he says, but God also made me fast. And when I run, I feel His pleasure. You know what I mean? And that's what it's like when you do what God put you on the earth to do. You feel His pleasure. You know what I mean? And that's what you felt.
Oh yeah.
You being the maker, you felt pleasure when you went out and shot this gun because you're using what you created it for.
Yep, absolutely.
That's awesome.
And you know, when again, I use these for shooting, I use these for hunting purposes, and when you harvest game, it's the same thing. It's like, wow, this thing I took from a block of wood to a finished piece of equipment that works and works well, and to be able to put food on the table with
That's
something I created, that's just like, wow. It blows me away.
I don't think many hunters could probably get that kind of pleasure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole nother level.
Absolutely.
I imagine. That's awesome. And so, what have you taken with this?
Well, this is specifically a squirrel gun, so
Okay.
this is small game.
Small game.
Yeah, it's a small caliber. It's nothing big. It's not used for whitetail or anything larger game. Just small game.
Awesome. So you've taken rabbit, squirrel.
Squirrel.
Mostly squirrel?
Mainly squirrel. Let's just
Got
say
it.
that. Yeah, let's just say that. Okay. Mainly squirrel.
Okay.
It's a squirrel gun specifically for it. But you know, it's
Gotcha.
they're fun to shoot. That's for sure.
That's awesome, man. I just think more people need to understand how the Lord feels about them when they neglect what He's given them to do.
Absolutely.
And actually, it brings Him joy when we do what we're supposed to do, but it also brings Him sorrow when we don't.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's a two-way thing. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
if you don't know what God's called you to do, find out and start doing it, and you'll find satisfaction you've never experienced any other way. Now, this is not even your. I mean, I know you used to gunsmith as a profession,
Correct.
and you're not doing that now, but you're still doing what you're called to do.
I
You know
still
what I mean?
do it. Yep.
So it's amazing. Not everybody, what they're called to do is their profession. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could say my whole profession is leading worship, but it's just not the case. You know what I mean? I have to make money other ways.
Yeah.
But what I've put on this earth to do is to worship. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely.
So everything else is just to enable that.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
So everything else is just to enable you to do this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that's
Well,
awesome.
you know, it's the thing when I hear about a lot of, I know there's a lot of people out there who who've got talents, and a lot of it musically, the talents for playing any instrument,
Yeah.
or even just talking with people, but yet they're not using it. It's like they'll sit home and play guitar, and they'll enjoy it, and they'll have, oh, this is my time, but you know what?
Yeah.
Hey, don't let that be a selfish time.
Yeah.
God created you for something.
Don't hide behind it.
Don't hide behind it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A lot of people will hide behind
Yep.
the very thing they're supposed to be putting out there.
And the thing is, the amount of people that can be blessed by something that God put to your hands. I mean, that's the deal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not, when I look at something and I take somebody out to the range and I'm like, just here, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? It's just, it gives me the pleasure to know that I'm educating, and I'm giving someone an experience that you're not going to read about in a book. You can't relate to it, and you just have to try it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what, Lord, if it's it's something that I'm able to instill into somebody and enjoy as much as I do.
Yeah. Also, Kevin's an amazing instructor. I mean, he's got me into shooting, and I'm not the best shot. I probably about 50% hit rate.
Better than some people.
Less than that.
Better than some people.
Who shall be unnamed?
Just kidding, brother.
Yes, but if you want to get into the sport and you got some free time, maybe you can pry Kevin away from his very busy schedule to teach you. He's very good at it, and if not, he can point you in the right direction of someone who can. So can we shoot this thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're gonna shoot this thing. All right, we're back. We're gonna shoot this gun. Kev, tell us all about loading it up.
Okay. What this is a what they call flintlock rifle. This is something that's several hundred years old in the style. So when you talk about the American Revolution, the 1700s, this is what they would have used was a flintlock rifle or a flintlock musket, but this happens to be a rifle. Okay. So what you have here, this is the cock here, they call that, or the hammer, some people refer to that. And you have this here is called a frizzen. And what happens is this: when you put powder in this pan and you close it up like this, there will be a spark that's created like that, which will fire off the powder charge. So first thing we're going to do, all right, we're going to flip this over here, and this is where the term muzzle loader comes into play. So what I need to do is I need to put a charge of powder down the barrel. So we're going to take the powder measurer.
That's what that is?
Yes, this is a powder measurer.
It'll give you the right amount.
Exactly. So even if I overflow it like I did, it turns that over, knocks off the excess. Okay. Make sure you put your stopper back in your powder horn. Not good if you don't. All right. So we're going to pour this down here. Always keep your face away. I tap it a little bit. Make sure powder falls all the way down to what we call the breech, which is where the round will be. Okay. And then I already have some pre-charges set up here, or preloads. So what I've done here was I've taken the round ball, as you can see here, and there's 6 of them on here, and I've already wrapped patching material around it. And what I do is this: I'm going to pull the ramrod, all right, and I'm going to put this right over top. We're going to punch it right through, just like that. So I started it already. I'm going to put this back so it's not in my way. It's kind of a quick way of carrying rounds without having to fiddle with it in the cold.
It's like the equivalent of the old-time magazine.
Exactly. So what I did now, just was able to run the round all the way down, and you got to tap it down a little bit, and then you can pull it up and reset your ramrod back in this holder in the thimbles. All right. So now we're loaded. So
okay.
You might want to step to this behind or so.
I'm going to step behind you.
Yes. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take the priming tool, or in this case, it's a priming, which I just lost the tip, priming horn, and we're going to run a little bit of powder. If you would hold that for me, please.
Where's your tip go?
I don't know, it might be in the bag.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to put it into the pan where I originally talked about. So what I'm going to do is now close the frizzen. and now we're technically loaded and ready to fire.
Okay, so let's talk about real quick gun safety. First thing.
Treat every gun as if it were loaded, number one.
Okay.
Know your backstop, know your target and beyond. So once that bullet goes, you're responsible. So anything happens, you're held accountable. So you need to know that it's going to stop. You need to know that everybody's safe and secure. So we have everybody behind us for this demonstration, and we know our backstop is solid, and this round will go nowhere except into the ground and into some stumps that we have set up over there. So, and that's really it for now.
Awesome.
Okay?
All right, go for it, man.
So, again, I just cocked the hammer, and it's going to hit that, and we're going to fire.
What kind of kickback?
This has really no recoil.
That's because it's a small game?
It's because it's a small caliber, very little charge, so there's really nothing that you're going to have.
Awesome.
So it's not like a modern cartridge where you have a harder, faster burning powder, which is a harsher hit because it's a faster burning powder. This is the old, what we call black powder, so it's a softer push, more of a push than it is a sharp wrap.
Got it. Awesome. Dude, thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Awesome.
My pleasure.
A squirrel may or may not be dead. We're not sure. I'm just kidding. It's not.
For all those around that, it's all right. We're kidding. We're playing.
It
There's
was
a
just
target.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for checking out the Inner Circle video. Again, like I tell you every week, it really blesses me when you guys enter into worship. Just keep on going, keep on doing that, and I'll see you on Sunday. I can't wait to worship with you again. Bye. All right, so now all I got left is to
You
cock.
just cock it. Yep. Back one. That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
And you were at I missed it.
Oh, that.
Oh, right.
Okay.
This is old school.
It's very old school.
Nice.
Oh, you shot just under it.
Just